What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Kale, I'm a surfer and a filmmaker, and today I wanted to share with you some micro movements which will dramatically, significantly, monumentally improve your speed while surfing on a wave. If you're new here, my name is Kale, I'm a surfer and a filmmaker, and here you'll find all sorts of epic surf content like tutorials to help you surf better, important reviews and more. So subscribe down below and join me on Instagram at KalesBroccoli. This footage was captured on one of my surf retreats, and on those retreats we do a bunch of video analysis for the attendees. All of the clips that we develop and produce on those trips go up on my Patreon page. So that's a membership site where all of my incredible patrons who have signed up there get access to all of these very detailed coaching clips twice per week. So make sure you check it out. The link is in the description below. Now let's jump to the video. I'm going to be using an intermediate surfer as my example here as to how the surfer could have increased their speed to not only approach the turn differently, but also come out of the turn with more speed as well. It really comes down to that little movement there, that initial speed boost, that initial lift of the board to really capitalize and then throw all the surfer's energy down the wave and drive that momentum so that they can maximize the wave's potential and gravitational force as they travel down the wave. That allows them to then travel up the face with a lot more ease. You can see in this turn here that I'm moving a lot faster than the surfer over here on the left. Now, importantly, coming out of the turn with speed requires that I then pump all my energy back down the wave after the turn, which looks like an immediate compression straight afterwards. So because of those straight legs during the turn, I've actually driven down the wave as opposed to sunk my energy down into the maneuver like with this turn here. Now, naturally, you might be wondering when to apply this sort of turn on your wave. And ideally, you're applying it at the start of your wave or in between turns. But at the start of the wave in this position here, you can maximize that downward fall, similar to what we see here over on the right of the wave, so that you can approach the rest of it with more speed than you might naturally get just standing there. And what this means is that relative to the size of the wave, you're going to be in a control position as opposed to trying to play catch up like the surfer does on this wave here. With a slightly better wave entry, with perhaps a movement like this, where the surfer shuffles their board nice and high on the wave with the oomph turn and really maximizes that downward potential gravitational force, they're able to approach the rest of the wave from a much more empowered position because they have speed. If you notice over on the right, the surfer really keeps their board flat the entire wave rather than transitioning from rail to rail because they're trying to play catch up all the way from the start. This can be cured with a slight oomph turn straight away. Now I want to look at forehand oomph turns, whatever we want to call them, double pumps or whatever. I have historically called it the oomph turn. I want to point out something. One of the best surfers in the world actually does this and makes it very effective, and also makes it look quite hidden, subtle, and aesthetically pleasing. And that's Griffin Colapinto. If we have a look at this clip here, you can see that double pump. So see that little turn right there? Again, there it is, bang. And watch how many times he actually does it in this clip. He absolutely destroys this wave. This is an example of a professional surfer applying this turn. Now, typically, when you talk about doing double pumps or whatever, a lot of traditionalists or a lot of, I guess, pompous old school surfers will say, well, if you look at guys like Tom Curran or maybe Kelly Slater, you'll notice that they don't do a lot of these double pump turns, but that's also because a lot of the vision that these people refer to is in bigger waves when you generally don't need to do that double pump, even though Griffin is applying it here. It's often in smaller waves where the double pump becomes really helpful and really beneficial. But someone like Griffin has made it a part of his technique and is thus absolutely capitalizing and destroying waves like this. Again, it's actually done on every single maneuver on that ride. It's quite an impressive feat. This turn is very subtle, and the pressure of it is slightly upward and back to begin with, followed by a rapid downward momentum thrust afterwards. If you look at this example on the left, you'll see it applied correctly. Now, if you look at the surfer on the right, he only goes up without the corresponding downward momentum thrust of the upper body. Now, this is similar to compressing and extending, right? Without compression, extension means nothing. The two have to be present simultaneously for there to be an effective momentum increase down the wave. So you can sort of see here how the surfer might have actually lost speed by applying these movements incorrectly, as opposed to actually really controlling them and driving them through the subtleties that work much better. A slight upward movement, followed by a forward down the line momentum thrust that's quite subtle and hard to see. With the board coming out of the water like that, there's no way that the surfer is going to be planing across the water without resistance in order for them to jump up into a turn like this. In the end, they're playing catch up once again. Just for a forehand example of where this turn might be appropriate, it's in this sort of stuff here, where you are moving through a section which might not naturally offer you a lot of speed, where you want to actually overcome it with that subtle oomph turn. By applying these correctly, I can see a huge benefit to your surfing, where just those tiny little micro movements can result in a huge speed boost. And you know my motto, with speed, you can do anything. So besides being conscious of this type of turn when you go out surfing, what's the best way to practice it? Well, this is where I want to introduce you to an element of my Ultimate Surfscape program, which I think is one of the fastest ways to progress your surfing. You can practice this little oomph turn by setting up cones strategically on a surf skateboard. The skateboard that I'm using in this clip is my favorite. It's the Smooth Star. Check it out. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know in the comments below, what are you struggling with your surfing? Thank you so much if you're already a subscriber. If you're not, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join me on Instagram at Kale's Broccoli for all the helpful resources that I've mentioned in this clip. Jump into the description below. The links are all there. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your company. I will see you guys soon. Keep shredding.